I feel run down this morning. I don't know if I've picked up a bug or a virus or a cold or something, which would be ironic considering I've started taking vitamin C and I never get colds. But there's been a couple of mornings over the last week where I've woken up feeling a bit like stuffy, but I don't know if that's just because I'm closing the windows now, and it might be that I'm just not getting the fresh air in my lungs that I was before. But my sleep has not been great since I've got back. It's just so noisy here. So Sunday morning, I don't know what's the matter with people. Sunday morning, 4 a.m, I'm woken up by the sounds of loads of screaming and shouting. It sounded like 10, 20 people, and it sounded like kids. So every so often we'll get this, like a swathe of gang of kids that will come through at a ridiculous hour of the night and just, tip over all the wheelie bins and all that sort of thing. I couldn't see them. They were in like the next road, and I could work out where they were, and it was really loud. And they sounded like, mid-teens, something like that. They were only kids, school kids. It happens. And after about 20 minutes of that, suddenly I heard police sirens. And you heard the police sirens get closer and then stop. So you knew that they'd arrived for them. And then it all went quiet, and that was the end of that. And so I'm just falling back to sleep. And about 5 a.m, someone's pulling wheelie bins down the road at 5 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Because lots of people leave their wheelie bins out all week and don't come and collect them, and then they'll come and collect them like randomly halfway through the wheelie bin cycle. 5 o'clock in the morning, dragging these empty wheelie bins. And if you've got wheelie bins, you'll know if you pull them around empty, particularly on unlevel roads, badly tarmac roads or whatever, they really rattle. And that was right outside my window because they're pulling them down the side of the road where I live. So yesterday morning, which was Sunday, didn't feel that great. This morning I've woken up feeling even worse. I slept awkwardly and my arm went numb, and as it came round, it really hurt. But I'm really struggling to find sleep positions that work for me. Sleeping on my side is my favourite, but at the moment it's making my shoulders hurt. All my shoulders ache. I've started doing those yoga exercises, but since I've got back I've slackened off, and I need to get back into that as a routine again, because my shoulders, I can feel it when I just do that. I can feel my shoulders pulling here and in the back of my shoulder blade on that side, falling apart. I feel just so old at the moment. So I was planning on going car camping this week. There's a nice chink of nice weather coming up later in the week, and I really want to go because it could be my last chance. And I've decided I'm going to go back to Morecambe Bay, and I found a new walk in that area that I can do, and I want to test out this new layout for my sleeping position by taking out that lower back seat so that I can flatten out the passenger seat even more and see if that works. It's constantly tweaking ideas until you find the thing that works, and because I only go car camping 2 or 3 times a year, I don't get many opportunities to see what works. So I might still do that, but if I feel like really rough, that could really tip me over the edge. So I'm not sure. So it's Monday morning. I'm getting ready to go out. I've got my usual Monday morning clean. I've got to go to Sainsbury's for them first, and I want to pick up a couple bits for myself. And then I've got a lot of packing for Vinted to do when I get back. Sold a load of stuff. Thank you to you. It's kind of Vinted but off Vinted, because not everyone uses Vinted, so thanks for that. It's very helpful. And so I'm going to do that, and I'm partway through doing my crafter jars, and I'm also doing some trinket boxes as well. I've been meaning to get on with those, so I've started doing those. So not feeling massively productive because the light levels are changing, the weather's changing, and I can feel that I'm starting to go into that that semi-hibernation mode that I often do. The problem is you go from summer where it's really, really sunny all the time to suddenly it's always cloudy all the time, and your body just goes, or your brain at least goes, I don't know about this. So, and that with all the hormonal aches and pains that I'm getting because I'm trying to redress the collagen issue, I just feel like a truck's run over me. But at least I don't have headaches and chronic fatigue. I feel like I'm back to normal energy levels. It's just everything else. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to get on with my day, and we'll see how we get on. It is Monday evening. I've been over to Morrison's because I'm 80% sure I'm going to go on this car camping trip. Don't really have anything in that I can take as picnic food. I was thinking about making some bread tomorrow, but then I'm thinking, what do I put with the bread? All I've got is jam, my homemade jam, which will be alright, but I can't live on that for 2 days. So I thought I'd go over and see if I could pick up anything that was vaguely like picnic food that that would do the job. Even though I've decided I'm going to go, I don't feel very organised. I haven't really thought about it. Anyway, so I've been over to Morrison's. I spent... What did I spend? £7.24. So when I got over there, I went over later than 5:30, and the queues for the clearance shelves now are getting crazy. And it looked like I'd missed the worst of it. It looked like he didn't have too much to do. So I thought, I'm going to wait and see what happens, because there was loads of stuff on there. And he was absolutely surrounded by people. And so it got to the end, and he finished, and he took his cage and off he went. And people who had clearly been waiting there for perhaps half an hour literally picked up a couple of things and went. They waited all that time for fairly average stuff, and there was tons there. So I picked through it all because I thought, shall I wait? And then there was lots of cheese, there were lots of like picnicky type foods. While I was waiting for the queue to die down, I went and had a walk around the shop. So I managed to get a loaf of bread, so I'm up to bake bread now. It's a wholemeal loaf, it's like a half-size loaf. And it was £1.20 down to 30p. So I'm going to take that because that's easy to pack in my cool box. So what else did I buy? Oh yeah, I found a chicken salad. This was £3 down to 75p. It's got sauce and croutons and things in it. This won't last, I don't think, until I go. I think I'm going to have to eat this tomorrow, but I'm kind of really into salads at the moment. As I've mentioned many times before, my sweet tooth is kind of going off, and I'm getting a little bit less interested in food. And that's a really good thing for me, to be honest with you. Anyway, so let's get back to food that I bought for... something's escaped its packaging. There we go. Right, so first thing, this definitely picnic food. We have one of those pork and apple pies. They are a pork pie, but they're a posh pork pie. This was £3.50 for that. Down to £1.05. That's going to be great for in the car. That'll help keep me happy for 2 days. So I'm going to take that. And there was loads of cheese. I bought a couple of cheese, one of which I will probably take. They're these swirly ones. So one's a Wensleydale cranberry and cream cheese whirl, whatever they call it. This was £2.21 down to 56p. And the other one is the Wensleydale cranberry and cream cheese, which I've had before. That's really nice. And that was £3.62 down to 91p. I'll probably take one of these and have that with the bread more than anything. But I might take a small jar of my jam as well, because I don't fancy, I'm really off cereal at the moment. So instead of taking, well, I normally take cereal and some milk, if I just take the bread, and I can have bread and jam for breakfast, that's fine by me. The other piece of cheese I got was a Belton's cheese. I'm going to grate this because I'm having some pasta dishes in the evening at the moment, and this is really nice, just grated on the top just before it comes off the stove, so I might use that. I also got, there was 1 pack of sausages. This is 12 thick pork sausages. I always keep sausages in the freezer because they're easy to just chop up and put into pasta dishes, into stir fries. They go with everything. These were £2 down to 60p, and it's one of the bigger packs. There's 12 thick. It's not the little tiny ones, but the bigger ones. So that will go in the freezer. That's really handy. Pizzas. I got 2 pizzas this time. This one I'm going to cook, chop into slices, and take with me for my car camping trip. So it's going to be a bit of a veg-free. Oh, there's plenty of veg on that though. Look at that. That is a veg supreme. This was £4. Crikey, that was £4 for that pizza. It's not even a proper brand, it's a Morrison's one, and it was down to £1. So I'm going to cook that up probably Wednesday morning, and I'm going to chop it into slices, and then I can eat that easily. That solves that little problem. I think that's snack food done. They also had these stone baked barbecue chicken ones, and this one's going to go in the freezer. This was £3.50 down to 88p. It's that one, not that one. So that's a big one. So I'm going to take that out of its box, which really gets in the way, and just put that in the freezer. I do still have another pizza in the freezer, but they're nice, easy go-tos. And then the other thing I got, so I usually buy whatever spread, margarine, whatever it is. I use it for baking spread and the whole lot. I don't care. It's all the same to me. And I'm down to my last one. Which I couldn't even get any. I haven't had any on discount for ages. The last one I bought, I had to get from Sainsbury. I bought it on Nectar Points, and it was one of their kind of spreadable, fake buttery type things, but it does the job. It's great for baking. Anyway, so in Morrison's, they had a big stack of Morrison's own brands, and somebody went off with 5 of them, and I managed to get 3 of them. These were £1 down to 25p. So these last forever in the fridge if they're not opened. I keep them for months and months and months. So I've got 3 of those. That is great for. I don't often like spread it on bread or anything. I usually use it for baking, and it's fine. It is actually the sauce spread, which is supposed to be. It says spread, bake, and cook. So that does that job. So yeah. So £7.24 for all of that. I think it was. Yeah, £7.24. I will put up there what I would have spent if I bought all of this on full price, and how much I've saved by buying it on yellow stickers. And now I'm going to go and put this all onto my spreadsheet, so I know what I've saved and what I've spent, and that helps me work out how much I've actually spent on food this month. I'll say a few things will go in the freezer. Some of this is specially for car camping. If I then don't go car camping because the weather changes or something, or I'm just not feeling up to it, I've got more food. Not gonna hurt, is it? Right, so that's that. So Monday evening done, and I felt better this afternoon. I felt really rough all morning actually. Felt better this afternoon, and then I wasn't going to go to Morrison's. I was thinking, shall I, shan't I? And then about 3 o'clock, all of a sudden, blue sky, lovely sunshine, warming up the flat. It was lovely, and it was almost 20 degrees. It like just came out of nowhere. It was so weird, and it gave me the. And I felt, yeah, let's go out. Let's go to Morrison's. Let's go and enjoy some of the sunshine. So I did. And I'm pleased I did, because I got quite a lot there. So that's that. It is Tuesday morning. I have been out and done a couple of errands. One was to pick up a parcel, and the other one was to drop off. My pickup is my first Christmas present purchase for the year. And this will look like a weird one. My dad used to be an electrical engineer. Trying to buy things for electrical engineers who don't like clutter is difficult. I got him a 2026 pylons calendar. It's actually really good. Do you know what? I love pylons. Let me find you a good one. There's one particular picture I really love in here. Where is it? This one. This is it, Sale Water Park. Look at that. That's a pattern and a half, isn't it? So if you've ever watched any of my walks, you will know that if I come across a pylon, I do like to stop and look at a pylon. So that's one of my dad's Christmas presents. My dad is the hardest person to buy for, so I'm pleased I managed to get that. Because he's a nightmare, so he's getting in there first this year. While I was out, I took my car keys, and I had to look at my car because I wanted to see if I could get that back seat out, and I did. Took a bit of going. It's only held on by 2 catches at the front of the back seat, and then it just lifts out. You just got to poke the rear seat belts down through the holes, and it's like a foam seat, so it's not difficult. But you have to really wrench those hooks, and then it's out. Brilliant. So I then got into it. I laid it in 2 ways. I laid the seat as flat as I could, and then pushed it right towards the back of the car. And I also tried it pushing the seat right forward to fill up that gap, and did that as well. And both worked really well. They're just the right length for me. It's perfect. 5'4". So I feel more inclined to go on my car camping trip now. Because although I don't sleep that well in the car, I'm also not sleeping very well at home at the moment. So what's the difference? So I want to give that a go. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. But I'm going to go later. Normally I would pack up as soon as I finished my morning cleaning job when I get back, which is, I get back about 1:30. But I think I'm going to go later and roll up there after dark. I'm going to do everything this end first. So I'm going to, when I get back tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to make up the bed and have it all laid flat and ready already. Just because it's easier to do it here than it is to try and do it at the other end and be inconspicuous. And then I can faff around getting the layout just right before I go. And we'll see how we get on. We should have, I'll keep an eye on the weather in case it suddenly changes, but the temperatures aren't too bad. It's going to be like 15 to 17 degrees during the day, and I don't know what it's going to be at night, but I've got all my layers. I'm taking my duvet, doing what I usually do, and we'll give this a go. This is my last attempt to get a good sleeping position, because after this, the only other way around it is to take out the passenger seat and build a bed in there. And I don't want my car to permanently have a bed in the passenger side. I want it to be a real car, and for me to just be able to, you know, customise it just for the trips that I'm going on. But if I can get a more comfortable sleeping arrangement, I can then have maybe more nights, go further, that sort of thing. And the problem has always been not quite having enough length to lay flat, because I get sciatica on my left side, and now because my muscles and my joints ache so much because of the menopause, I can't be done with having to be all scrunched up. I can't sleep like that. I have to be able to stretch out. I'm also a real fidget, so I need to be able to move around. But now I've got an actual proper full length, I'm hoping that will help solve some of that problem. And previously, because I couldn't get the passenger seat right down, I was also at an angle. So I could only sleep on my back, which I find it really hard to actually fall asleep on my back. And that was just making things so difficult. So I can now do that because that seat lies flat. And once I've put all the padding on to flatten out the passenger seat, because obviously it's still a bit contoured, that hopefully should do the job. We shall see. I shall do that tomorrow afternoon. But I feel vaguely hopeful that this might be the way forward. And I have a couple of other ideas. So on the passenger seat, you'll see, you get normal seat, and then it goes up to the headrest, and the headrest becomes pointy, which is fairly standard on most cars. But if you're using that as your headrest, that is quite difficult to pad out, because everything falls off the side and then you end up not being able to sleep properly. So what I'm going to do is take one of my cushions. I often take these as padding anyway for the seats. Take one of these, and they've got zips on them and inside. So I could slot that all the way. It's really wide. It's even wider than the seat. I could slot that over the headrest to create a flatter sleeping position for my head and my neck and my shoulders, and I think that might do the job. I love doing things like this. I love the challenge. I've also feeling less enthusiastic about living in my car, particularly now the weather's changed and I'm thinking about the practicalities of it. But I did have a look on the internet, and on eBay I found a car work desk. So it's a like a board or plastic, whatever it is, and it has two cutouts, and you slot it onto the base of your steering wheel, and then the pressure of the angle keeps it flat, and you have a little table where your steering wheel is, and then you can put your laptop on it, or you can eat off it and whatever. I might get one of those anyway, because of car camping trips, and I might buy that inverter, that charger, and then if I go on longer trips, maybe if I try and do 3 or 4 days, I could take my laptop with me and test that out and see if that actually works. Because that converts the voltage that you get from maybe plugging your phone into the cigarette lighter. It converts it from that low voltage into the 240 voltage that you need to charge a laptop. They're for sale everywhere. I've seen YouTube videos of people using them and saying they work. So I want to give that a go, because that might just be those might just be nice things to have anyway. Because then, if I do have my time or I want to go on like a week-long camping trip, I can, because I can take everything with me, and I have a rucksack, so I can take my laptop out with me. I wouldn't want to leave that in the car if I wasn't in the car. Never leave valuables in your car, even if they're well hidden, because people will find stuff, and that might work really well as well. So I think I am going on my car camping trip. I've made a list of all the things that I need to take. So this is the list. There's a lot on there. Last time I went car camping, I forgot to take my flasks of hot water. I don't necessarily need that because I have a car kettle, but I find that if I'm already putting hot or warm water into the kettle, it boils quicker because it's really slow, and that'll just sort that out. But I'm pretty lightweight travel wise. I always take too much stuff, so I'm trying to be better about it. Feel organised, but today I am crafting. I've got to get on with my jars and bits and pieces. So Tuesday. The beautiful weather of Monday evening has well and truly gone. It's not cold, it's not raining, it's just thick, heavy cloud, which is not fun, but it's not too bad. I can still have the windows open. It's not freezing cold. Let's make a cuppa and let's get on. Right, so that's all my jobs done. Cleaning is done. I've got to go home and do some money admin because I've put money in to the bank from that, and then I've just got to get prepped to go. I'll be home like 1:30. I'm not planning to go until about 7 o'clock. I want to get there. Normally I'd like be packed up and gone almost as soon as I get back, because I like to make the most of the weather, but with the nights drawing in so fast and now it's dark at 7 anyway, and I don't then want to be stuck in the car from 7 o'clock because it's dark and chillier. So I'd rather get there, say about 9 o'clock, settle down for the evening, hopefully get some sleep, trying out the new bed environment, and then wake up in the morning and get started in the morning. So I'm going to be doing all my packing when I get back, have some food, make sure I'm fed and everything, so that when I get there I don't have to do any of that. And then, you know, like, I can pull up and just keep my head down. Should be alright. It's quite a good place to park. It's somewhere I've been before, so I know what I'm getting. I'm just going to hopefully find a parking space, which shouldn't be too difficult because it's a very long road. So I'm sure I can find somewhere to squeeze in. So let's get back and let's get on with that. So I'm just packing all my bits and pieces. I'm just going to show you how much food I'm taking. So this is the sum of all the food I'm taking with me. I've got to cook this up, and that Smart bottle has milk in it. I don't need a lot of milk. I'm only taking it for tea. I'm not taking cereal this time. doesn't look like a lot. That in there is butter, and that is some of my homemade plum jam, and those two will go with that. These I bought last month. I have already opened them. They're a nice little extra snack. That cheese is also to go with the bread. Fruit, obviously. This I'm going to chop up into lots of pieces and eat, and then that I will just nibble on. If I need anything else, there's a Morrison's quite close, so it's easy for me to get extra bits, but usually I end up taking too much food and bringing stuff back, so I probably won't eat all this anyway. I'm only going to need it Thursday and then the first half of Friday, because I'll be coming home on Friday around lunchtime, and I won't need anything on Wednesday because I'm driving up today in the evening. So I've also got my travel kettle. I've got 2 litres of water, 2 large flasks of boiling water, of hot water, so that it just makes the process of boiling water in my kettle a bit quicker because it's not very fast. I've got cutlery, I've got tea bags. The thing that takes up most of the space, like more than half of what I'm taking, because I like to travel light, but you can't. And when it's a very tiny car as well, it feels like you're taking a lot of extra stuff. So most of the space is taken up with the bedding. So I need to pack out the passenger seat so it's a bit comfortable. So I've got 2 spare bed pillows, 3 blankets, and 3 sofa cushions, like the scatter cushions, but they're the large size. One of them is the one that's going to be on the back of my headrest on the passenger seat to make that a bit more comfortable. And then I've also got my king size feather duvet, which I'm taking, and I'm also going to take my sushi hoodie just in case. I may or may not need it. Temperatures are going to be 15 during the day and should be about 12 at night. Not going to rain, or it says it's not going to rain at the moment, and it doesn't look like it's going to be windy or anything, so it's going to be much like it is here now, but not quite as cold, which will be nice. So I'm going to go and start building the bed, and we'll see how we get on with that. So that's the bed mostly in place. The cool box will fit into the passenger footwell and will create the last of the length of that bed. And obviously I still have to bring in my duvet, so that'll pad out the rest of this, which I won't know until I sleep on it what it's going to be like. But now I'm going to get that lower back seat into the flat because I don't want it in the car or wherever it would end up. So I'm going to take that in and get on with the next stage. Oh my gosh, it's so dark. This camera isn't designed for the night, I'm afraid, so this is going to be quick. Even worse. So here I am, ready to go on probably my last car camping trip of this year. Depends on how I get on with the cold. Bed is already made, so I can pretty much squeeze right into that as soon as I get there and get myself organised. So that's it. Me trying to find the light spot. There we go. I'm on my way, and I'll see you at the other end. So I'm here. I've got my little LED night light, which means I have lights without having to use the engine. Or should I say, without having to switch the engine on. I've got my window blacks up, so I'm locked in. The road is really quiet. But yeah, so it's really empty road here. The last time I was here was 13 months ago, so I think it was 30 months ago. I think it was September 2024. So I've got my bed laid out and I've tested it for the first time. It's pretty flat compared to last time. It's a lot flatter. Even just taking out that back seat, which only gives me about that much depth back, makes a huge difference. And I've got the cooler in the front footwell, and I've rammed the seat up as close as I can to it, and that means I can get this nice and low at the head end, and hopefully this is going to be okay. Anyway, so I'm going to shut off now and speak to you in the morning. Wish me luck with a good night's sleep. Good morning. I think we might be a little bit lucky with the weather. I see blue sky, little bits of sun, and the wind that we had overnight, it wasn't that bad, has gone completely. The tide is out, I can see it from here. Didn't have too bad a night. Definitely a much better sleeping possession. So I am going to... Where's my bottle of water gone? Oh, that's there. Just going to sort out my vitamin C drink. I even brought that with me. How organised am I? I'm going to have a cup of tea. I'm going to have some of that bread and jam. And then I'm going to go out and start walking. I'm going to do what I did last time. I was here 13 months ago. And I'm going to walk all along the seafront up to Morecambe. Have a toodle around there. Have a little window shop, etc., etc. And then amble back. We'll have some lunch. And then there's a walk I want to do in the opposite direction. So that there was that chapel that I went to last time. And if you walk past the chapel and follow it down, you end up going towards where the ferry is. And there's a nice little nature reserve walk down there. There's also a little lighthouse and things like that. So I'm going to toodle on down that way. I'm off. Hey Ned. Good morning. Excuse the noise, there's a lady having a bit of a meltdown over the back. She's not well. This is Haysham. It's a bit breezy. but it isn't cold, which is a surprise. Oh, you can smell that sea air, it's fantastic. Excuse my squeaky boot. My left boot squeaks. I have no idea why, just the one boot. The tiny horses are still here. Tiny ponies. They were here last time. So here we are. Rather splendid, if a bit murky. But it is the middle of October. So nothing else you can expect from that, really. Put the stabilisation back on the camera. Hopefully that'll make things a little less bouncy. So yeah, so I'm going to be walking. There you go, you can see the beach there. I'm going to be walking all the way down this coastline to Morecambe Bay. I'm going to nip into Morrison's there to use the facilities. And then we'll have a wander about. Last time I came down, I just stuck to the coast and the all the things on the front because the weather was nice and I was down on the beach and everything. But this time I think I'm going to go and have a look actually in Morecambe. You can't see them from here, but there are loads of seabirds out on the water's edge out there. But I can hear curlews. The birds I can see look like oyster catchers. I did bring my binoculars today. Although I don't really have anything planned for while I'm here beyond doing this, that was really the point. I wanted to come back to the beach, and I really like it here. And I just wanted to get away from the internet. Yeah, I wanted to get away from the TV, the internet. The 4G does work here, but it's a bit slow, so it keeps me off it, which is good. And I just wanted to come back to the sea. Hear the curlews. I love the beach. I'd love to live here actually. This would be a great place to live. There are houses up on the top there, and there are houses way back there up on the tops as well, just overlooking the sea. Can you imagine living in one of those? Right, let's head down here. If we follow along here, we'll be able to walk up the other end. Dog's having a wonderful time. Well, if it stays like this, I've had a good day. This is pretty good. Right, so this is us back up on the front. And there you can see, just in the distance there, that big building is the Midland Hotel. Got this greenery. The size of this beach is amazing. Got the shells, cockles, oysters, mussels. Lots of greenery hanging in there. So that's the pier that used to be a railway line. And that little cafe at the end there used to be the station. I did this last time I was here, and this is where, when the tide was up, the boats would bring in and take out soldiers, and this is where they would disembark or embark the boats and the trains. Interesting stuff. Someone's lost their toy car. That's been there a while. We'll put that on the steps, maybe someone else will adopt it. Better than it floating around out in the sea. And there's the walkway there. So I've left Morrison's and I've just been into a little market across the road called Festival Market. It's like what markets used to be, indoor markets, you know. Little stores of this, that or the other. Got your pet food one, your clothes, your books, your second-hand books, all the bits and pieces. It was really nice. Don't see many of those around now. Didn't buy anything. Just browsing. So, windy. Let's get out the wind. So I'm now going to wander back towards what looks like the centre of Morecambe. I don't know what I'm going to film. I don't like filming when there's lots of people around. You might get your phone snatched. It feels a bit weird. But we're going to walk. Have a little wander around, see what's there. More roads running off the high street. More shops. Let's go down there. Chippies, pizza places. I've seen full fabric and yarn shops since I've been here. Looks like a Greek restaurant. It's a cute little street. The Methodist chapel there. Look at this tiny little place here. How cute is that? Look at those two. All these little houses. Oh wow, look at these. Look at all the windows on that one. Tide's really coming in now. I'm going to start walking back. It's almost lunchtime. Tide's coming in fast and I'm almost out of battery on this phone. I was going to go and see if I could find the blue plaque where Eric Morecambe lived, but the internet is so bad here I can't get the maps to load. So I'm going to take a gentle stroll back and I'm going to switch this off. I've done all this before anyway, and I will see you back at the car and then I can get this phone back on charge. That's it. So I'm back at the car. How fast did that tide come in? I was completely in by the time I got back here. And now I'm looking out, and this morning when I looked out, all I could see was rocks and sand and whatever, and now it's just sea. Anyway, so I am going to go somewhere else for lunch, and I'm going to go back to that car park that I stopped at before, the Car Lane car park. I think, is it Heysham? It's still part of Heysham, I think. So the last time I was here, you could walk for miles along this bit of beach. Today the sea is almost at my wheels, which is no surprise because I've only come a short way round the coastline. But that's fine. I just wait to come here to have lunch. If I sit here for long enough, the tide will go out again. So I'm going to have some lunch. I have that cold pizza that I cooked up yesterday. It was really interesting listening to everyone's comments about my recent car life video and the other bits that I've mentioned in other videos as well. And a lot of the things that people said I have already thought about in one degree or another. So I feel like I'm on the right track for it, because all the things that people are saying, well, if you thought about this, if you thought about that, what if this happens or whatever, I've thought about that. There's a channel that I've recently started following, although it's been going for a while, and this guy had converted the Citroen version of my car, and he was living in it, and he'd been living in it for a year by the time I found his video, so I don't know what he's doing now. And that's why I was investigating like how to remove like the back seat and the passenger seat and that sort of thing, which I haven't done, but now I've removed the back seat, that passenger seat will go much flatter, and it really has made a difference to the sleeping position, which is good. But someone mentioned about, well, if you live in your car, what are you going to do? You're just going to sit in your car, or you can't just sit in your car all day. And I have thought about that, because this guy has been living, or his car has been his home for the last year, says you don't live in your car, you live from your car. So you have to find all different other ways to be. And if I was going to do it and I stayed in the town which I'm already in, I would have 11.5 hours of work outside because of the cleaning jobs. So that gets me out into other places for 11.5 hours a week. And then there are 3 or 4 different places where you could go and, buy a coffee or something and then sit there, and I could work on the computer, on the laptop. So that would kill a few hours. And then there is, the potential for doing a little bit of travelling around. The problem is that the way my cleaning hours work at the moment, I don't get enough chunks of time to go off and do other things. So I have a cleaning job on Monday, I have one on Wednesday during the day and one on Wednesday evening, and then I have either Saturday or Sunday. So I could juggle things around and do a Wednesday afternoon right through to a Saturday away other places and then come back again. And then of course there's, where do you stay? When you are in the place that you're staying in, where is safe to park your car for the night. And I know the town well enough to know certainly the areas to avoid. And you only need a few quiet streets to park up in at night on rotation for you to be okay. And you're better off finding places that are on the outskirts, because you're less likely to have, the gangs of kids that hang around that we certainly have. And then you would be, if you're on the outskirts, you're probably on the nicer bit of town where it's going to be quiet residential with nicer houses. But that's something you can research. As I say, we've got a Starbucks, a Costa. There is a couple of pubs which you could just sit in, get a coffee or a tea, and just sit there with the internet for a bit. But you have to really structure your day differently. Because it's like me being here and thinking, okay, see, in summer it's different. When you've got the light until very late, you can be out doing other things. Now, as it is at the moment, it's getting dark at 7 o'clock. So that's why I chose to arrive much later last night, because I didn't want to be stuck in the car from 7 o'clock in the evening because it's dark and there's not very much to do round there, right through until, like 8 o'clock the next morning. That's like 12 hours of just lying in your car. You can't do that. Even if you have work to do, you can't do it. So when the weather's not very good, as it often isn't, certainly in winter and for much of autumn and spring, you have to decide where you can go. And very often you can't take your car with you because it might be that it's paid parking and whatever. So you've got to get from your car to wherever place you're planning to spend your day or part of your day, in a cafe or something. And you've got to deal with the weather with that as well. So your life becomes very structured, because you can't just have a day at home, just, chilling, working, crafting, that sort of thing. If I could find a little, like a studio workshop instead of storage, that would give me somewhere else to go every single day. But when I was lying there last night, trying to wind down after I'd arrived, sorted out my bed, got organised, and I'm laying there thinking, you can't live in this, it's ridiculous. That other chap does it because he leads a very singular life and he doesn't have anything. His work is writing e-books, so he finds cafes and things to work in, and then he just goes out and he walks. Well, none of that works for me because most of my work, I mean, when I'm recording like this, that's fine, but a lot of my work is making stuff. So a lot of that would have to end, or would become more constrained. But it's interesting to think about, isn't it? I like the idea of it as a challenge, and if I had no choice, if it was that or homelessness, then yeah, I could do it if I had to. I might go home today. I don't think I'm going to do a second night. It's 1:30. I've got one more small walk that I'd like to do back in Haysham. But I walked a lot today. Let's have a look. I walked almost 7 miles going to Morecambe and back, and my legs are killing me. This whole new menopause trend is not good. The muscles in my legs, especially in my thighs and my feet, just hurt so much. And then being sat in the car like this is not a good position. I didn't have much planned for this trip. It wasn't very structured. I just wanted to get away and get to the beach. That's what I wanted to do. And I've done that. I did a night. The new sleeping position does work. And that's all I wanted to test, really. This is not a great time of year, really, for car camping. Because what you want to be doing is out, and if the weather isn't great, it's not too bad, but it's really windy here. It's pretty relentless on the wind front, and I feel like I've done what I needed to do. I have a lot of work to get on with back at home, a lot of crafting stuff to get on with. I'm halfway through doing my next batch. So it's not like I don't have anything I should be doing that's kind of more important at the moment. But it's nice to get out. And if I get nice weather, I'll keep an eye out for nice days and I'll try and get out and do some day hikes. But yeah, all all my joints hurt. It's not my joints even, this feels like all the muscles that run down the outsides of my thighs, and my feet hurt when I'm on them. And I'm just feeling so old at the moment. I've got to sort this collagen thing out, and because it's just so painful and it's uncomfortable. And it wasn't too bad last night because I was able to sleep flat. But normally when I'm like at home in my own bed, I fidget and I toss and turn a lot until everything calms down and I find the right position, and I can stretch out the joints and the muscles. And I can't do that in here. I've got limited space in order to do that. So it means that I end up being uncomfortable for longer until things sort themselves out. So, anyway. I feel like I've had enough. I'll try and get some things packed and ordered because everything's absolute chaos here. And I'll have my tea. I've now spilt all over myself. Honestly, I'm a wreck. What a nightmare. Right, I'm going to tidy up the car a bit because there are things everywhere. I stretch my legs so I can't sit in this position. The way these car seats are, they dip down towards your hip, so they come up towards your knee, and that's the worst possible position for me, I can tell you. It's not good. So I'm going to go outside and try and sort some bags. So it's Friday, and as you can tell, I came home yesterday. Didn't quite go as planned. I didn't really plan well enough, with enough to do. It was a bit of a spur of the moment thing because I wasn't sure what was going on with the weather. And yesterday afternoon, the weather did start to deteriorate as well. So as I started to drive home, I noticed rain. So the weather wasn't quite accurate. But the worst problem was just the pain in my legs. I walked that 7 miles there and back to Morecambe, and it was just too much. And this is all menopause related, so stiff and painful joints and muscles, and I'm working on that, but it takes time. You can't just start taking something and it resolves, because your body is trying to, you've got to rebuild the collagen, and it takes time. It can take at least 3 months to see any noticeable change. So I haven't been doing the changes long enough for it to have taken effect yet. And the sleep situation in the car is sorted for car camping trips in the future, but I was just in so much pain. And the problem is that when I feel like that, I need to be able to stretch and move around a lot, and to try to kind of stretch the pain out. And the other problem I've got at the moment is that I developed this pain in my shoulder, in my left shoulder here. And I've had trouble with my shoulder in the past. I had a frozen shoulder, and it's never really gone back to normal. And now, since I've started getting the pain in my legs and what have you, as my menopause symptoms have changed, it's now in my shoulders as well. And I've got pins and needles, tingling sensation which comes and goes in my left hand. That is also a menopause thing. I had it in my toes last year and that went. And so it might be that, it might be that whatever's going on in my shoulder is pressing on a nerve, but I would have expected the rest of my arm to go as well, which it isn't. So I don't know. So that's making sleep really hard. The only sleeping position that doesn't trigger it is laying on my back, which is fine in the car, but I can't fall asleep lying on my back. Once I'm asleep, because I can often wake up and find myself on my back, but I can't fall asleep on my back. I just can't do it. And it's because having my legs straight makes them hurt. So I'm very much on one side, then I'm on the other side, then I'm on my front, then on my back, and I constantly move. I'm a serious fidget, which is why I have the whole bed. And it needs to be a bed with enough room, which you can't do in a car. My passenger seat isn't even wide enough to be a single. So there's no chance of me getting enough room to move around, even though I've now worked out the flat position and sorted out a lot of the lumps and bumps in the seat. So it was definitely more comfortable. But it's just, I just overdid it. I shouldn't have gone so far as I did. And I had a really bad night last night with my shoulder. I woke up in the middle of the night and the pain was really bad in my shoulder. I don't know what position I was sleeping in at the time. And so I didn't sleep well last night after I got back. And today I just don't feel up to things. I'm working my way through trying to sort out editing the videos from this trip. And I'm going to put a long version of the video on my walking channel. I'll put a link when that's all ready to go. But I'm getting old. It's really frustrating because I want to go off and do these things. And of course, as I was saying yesterday after I parked up at that car park for the day, this is not a practical solution. I couldn't live in my car like that. It's ridiculous. It just isn't going to work, is it? And a push I could. If I had to do it, I could. But doing it by choice isn't going to work in that particular car. So I don't know. Still waiting for anything back from the letting agents. They still have time. By the time you see this, my deadline may have come. I'm not too sure, but I'll update you as when things change. Anyway, so I don't know what I'm doing today. So that will be my last car camping trip of the year because I think it will get too cold after that. I will still do hiking trips, but I need to be mindful of how far I'm walking because that 7 miles, almost 7 miles I did yesterday was clearly too much for me as I am at the moment. So I just need to be aware that I need to be careful with planning hiking routes and making sure I'm not going too far. Today I would have been coming home. I had something else planned for today. So I was going, as I did, I went late on the Wednesday for my park up. I was going to do walking all around a Heysham and Morecambe on the day. And then the next morning I was going to drive 45 minutes, not far out of my way, to the Forest of Bowland. I found a parking up spot with a really nice hiking route and I was going to do that today on the way home. The weather isn't great. I don't think that would have come off anyway. It has rained a lot overnight and I couldn't have done a second hike. Plus, I couldn't have done any more walking yesterday, and so I'd been sitting around from like 1 o'clock right through until whatever time I went to sleep. And you can't just sit around in the car. As I said before, if you're going to be in your car, you need to live from your car, not in it. And I didn't really have anywhere else to go. Primarily my fault. I should have planned better. I should have thought of other things to do, other places to go that wouldn't have required huge amounts of walking. But I just didn't plan properly. So anyway, that's how that ended. So food for thought anyway. Don't know. Not sure. Anyway, it's end of Friday. It's Friday. It's about 2 o'clock. I'm just getting on with work and stuff today. Still arts and crafting because I had a load of that still to do. Editing videos, and then we're into the weekend. So that's the end of this video. Didn't quite go to plan, but hey ho, these things don't always go to plan. And catch you on the next one. whatever that is, and wherever that takes us. So I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.